guys, today I'm going to be reading chapter 20 from the Toothpaste Millionaire, and this chapter is called The Blow Up. I'm tempted to put Joey the Bomb in the movie anyway. He's more likable than Sparkle, Dazzle, and Bright. Also, Joey was hired to blow up the plant. It wasn't his idea. Joey didn't have any grudge against Rufus personally, but he personally decided to get Rufus and me and Hector out of the plant before he set off the bomb. Joey is in jail now. It definitely proved that he was the bomber, though the police haven't caught up with the guy who hired him. All the police know is that the guy who hired Joey is with organized crime. That was what the meeting in the next room of the hotel was about. It seems organized crime owns a lot of companies, including toothpaste factories. When someone cuts in on their business, they don't bother with price fixing deals. Rufus and I have gone to see Joey the Bomb in jail a couple times. We feel grateful to him for saving our lives. He might not be in jail if we hadn't been alive to identify him when the cops nabbed him. Hector wouldn't go with us to visit Joey. He never will forgive Joey for blowing up the plant. Although Rufus was planning to rent a bigger plant with tube filling machine that could fill 10 times as many tubes an hour, Hector was heartbroken about losing the old machine. Even the first year's profits didn't cheer Hector. Rufus didn't sell quite the 250 million tubes he planned to sell his first year of business, but he came close. The company's profits were a little over $2 million. Even after dividing up 49% of the profits among the other stockholders, Rufus still had over $1 million. The plant getting bombed turned out to be the least of Rufus's problems. His real headache started when Sparkle, Dazzle, and Bright, plus a lot of other people, began calling up our stockholders trying to buy up stock in the company. Most of the kids who owned stock realized they had a good thing and wouldn't sell, but a couple of the kids wanted to make some quick money and they agreed to sell their shares. When they turned their stock certificates over to the stock buyers, the buyers flipped because the certificates looked like play money. My father said that's all stock certificates are anyways, but the stock buyers still flipped. We all knew Rufus's stock certificates came from his stock market game, but it seems that if you're in real business, you're supposed to have real certificates, and lawyers are okaying how your company is set up, and records for the government. And there are a lot of rules and regulations we didn't know about. And the first thing we did know about them was a headline in the Cleveland Plain Dealer: Boy Financial Wizard Accused of Fraud. Then a Business Monthly article: Is toothpaste stock bogus? And the second thing we know, there's a special investigation, and it looks as if Rufus may be going to jail along with Sparkle, Dazzle, and Bright. FBI agents come around wanting to see Rufus's books. The books they want to see are account books, which show the company's earnings. All Rufus had for books was a spiral notebook in which he jotted the numbers of orders, what our expenses were, and the profits we made every week. The FBI was used to businesses that had sets and sets and sets of books, and accountants to explain how they added up business expenses and send reports to the government. Rufus didn't have any accountants. He just had me checking to see that he hadn't made a mistake in addition. When the FBI saw Rufus's spiral notebook, they were sure he must have had some other books hidden away somewhere. The more the FBI and Cleveland District Attorney and newspaper reporters investigated, the longer the list got of rules and regulations Rufus hadn't paid any attention to. This was the only time I ever heard Rufus sound discouraged. But as things turned out, the point of all these rules and regulations was to protect customers and stockholders from fraud. And the special investigation proved that Rufus hadn't cheated anyone. Rufus's toothpaste hadn't done exactly what he said it did. Every stockholder had been paid his fair share of the profits, even if the stock certificates weren't the real thing. So Rufus couldn't be found guilty of fraud, only of not filling out certain forms in a certain way. As my father said, Rufus's only crime was cutting through a lot of red tape, and he should be an example to the whole country. And that is the end of chapter 20.